Happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts. No word of a lie. There is literally thunder and lightning outside. Coincidence much?
Elude alligator, confront the creator. Thine eyes shall see the mystery.
Fuck this! Hello, my fellow YouTubers and subscribers, and welcome to my latest rant. Today, I bring you a rant on the latest in a long line of Disney live-action remakes. Peter Pan and Wendy. Because I really wanted this movie to be made. Yeah, I absolutely was dying to make it, or have it be made for me. I couldn't live without it. So, as I've alluded to, this is once again another Disney live-action remake. Thankfully, it was not theatrically released. It was just shoved onto Disney Plus. But they still made it, so yeah, what the hell, let's get this over with. It basically follows the same story as the book and the original 1953 movie from Disney, and also the 2003 movie. But for what it's worth, follow the adventures of Peter Pan, a boy who does not want to grow up, and how he recruits 3 siblings in London, and together they embark on a magical adventure on the enchanted island of Neverland. I give up with the live-action remakes now. I've had enough. I'm sorry. I've had enough. Fuck this shit, because this is the lowest of the low. They are the worst of the movies. Nothing happens in this movie. Nothing. This is supposed to be some kind of retelling of the story, but this movie does the total opposite of what it's meant to do. This is meant to be a fun, charming, coming-of-age story with a deep, emotional heart and sexual tension. There's none of that in this film. This is quite possibly the most boring and bland adaptation of Peter Pan thus far. It's so dull! My God, I did not like this film at all. This movie was a massive disappointment. Not that I expected it to be any good, but even so. The problem I have with this film is the whole aesthetic. The whole look of this film is terrible. The cinematography and the lighting is far too dark. It's just so bleak. It's just unnaturally bleak, and it's just really weird. It gives this film this kind of sepia, desaturated look, and it's just got this really overly grey colour palette. It doesn't work. This is Peter Pan, for God's sake. We're supposed to be on this magical island, and yet half the time I don't feel like it's that magical. I feel like Peter takes them to the coast of Dorset. They go down to Dorset on the coast of England and just are standing by Old Harry Rocks. I don't feel like they're in Neverland. Nothing about this land is magical. And part of that is down to the way it looks and also the location. The location of this film is terrible. I mean, not only is the Darling House a massively dark, desaturated place, overly dark, really, it doesn't look right. We then get to Neverland, and we're basically on a cliffside for most of it, and then we're in a forest. I swear before it was a jungle. Before, in the original story, and in the Disney film, and in the 2003 remake, it was a jungle. But no, they've decided to do things differently here. It's just terrible. It doesn't look authentic. It looks like a glorified Peter Pan student film on a slightly bigger budget. God, this movie sucks. You know, it was directed by David Lowery, or not directed. It feels like no one cared about this film. It really does. It's just so lazily slapped together. There's no coherency. Like, again, they're making pointless changes just for the sake of doing it. These remakes followed the exact same pattern. They're just playing the nostalgia card in order to get people to watch the movies, and yet they change things and alter the stories just for the sake of saying, oh, we're not 100% copying the originals beat for beat. In this film, Tiger Lily's role was extended for some bizarre reason. She is given a slightly bigger role, and we're given a hint towards her backstory about her mother or her grandmother or someone in her family, I don't fucking know. And then Tinkerbell's role is dramatically reduced, which is wrong. Wasn't the whole point of the original story that there was sexual tension between Wendy, Peter, and Tink? You know, the fact that Wendy was kind of growing up and she was kind of, you know, she kind of fancied Peter, and Tink also kind of fancied Peter, hence why she was jealous and got the Lost Boys to shoot the Wendy bird down and then that causes Peter to banish Tinkerbell. I thought that was in the original story, but in this they completely bypassed that. There's no drama, there is no tension whatsoever. There's nothing in this story to grip you. The characters don't go on any journey. Well, not emotionally anyway. Physically they travel to Neverland and back, but that's it. There's no sense of overcoming the threat. You know, it doesn't work. It's just so bland. The direction by David Lowery is terrible. It really is. And more to the point, the acting in this film is awful. These kids cannot fucking act to save their life. Okay, spare a few. I will say that the girl that plays Wendy, Eva Anderson, she's okay. Like, she's decent. She's the only person who's trying out of the child cast, but even she can't save this piece of crap. She actually looks scarily like the previous girl that played Wendy in the 2003 remake 20 years ago, Rachel Hurd Wood. They look very similar, which is weird. Alexander Moloney as Peter Pan. Who cast this kid? This kid is fucking terrible. He's so bad. Every line is delivered with no emotion. He's completely one note. He looks weird in the part. I don't know, it just doesn't look right for me. And his delivery is so flat. And again, there's no character growth because the script is fucking awful. The script gives him virtually nothing to do. All he does in the film is basically run around and sword fight. That's all he does. There really isn't much else going on here. Jude Law as Captain Hook, he's okay, I suppose. He's trying, but he has, again, such a bad script that gives him nothing to do, but I feel like his characterization was almost boring. Like, his version of Hook compared to, like, Jason Isaacs, or the guy from the animated film, or even Dustin Hoffman from Hook. Jude Law's one of the lower ranking ones. I don't know, I just don't feel like he was given a chance to really flesh out his version properly. He was just kind of going from a sort of archetypal point of view. It feels very archetypal. It doesn't feel individual enough for me. And as a result, I just don't engage with his performance very much. And it's not a bad performance, but it's not particularly great. It's not the best I've seen from Jude Law, but it's not the worst either. It's just kind of meh, you know. Like, he's passable, but it doesn't stand out to me. However, Jim Gaffigan as Smee, he is the worst live-action Smee that I've ever watched. I mean, my god, why is he playing it so serious? He is far too serious for his own good. There's no comedy between Hook and Smee. There's no comedy full stop. The whole film is just depressing because it's just so boring and serious. And yet Smee just gets nothing to do either. John and Michael are forgettable as well. They're bloody terrible. Alyssa Wapanatâhk as Tiger Lily. Fine. Again, don't know why they gave her that much to do. She was kind of overused, but whatever. Molly Parker and Alan Tudyk as the darling parents are fine, but they're barely in it. So there's not much to say about them. As for the lost boys, or, well, the lost kids, they're fine. I don't mind them having lost girls in the group. That's alright. I don't have a problem with that. But the group themselves got nothing to do. There was barely any dynamic, and they were just basically spouting off cheesy lines, like cheesy reaction lines, like you know, is it a bird? Is it a plane? Oh, you know, like stuff like that. Like, come on, man. Like, you can do better than that. You know, writers, you can do far better than that. They just did not use these kids very well. They really did not. And it shows. And it shows, like, the lack of acting experience that these kids have really shows. And they weren't guided. They were kind of left to their own devices. Also, more to the point, this movie has piss poor pacing. And on this occasion, I feel like this is a film that's so rushed. You can tell it's rushed. Like, they skip through so much so quickly. Everything in the Darling House is rushed in the first 10 minutes. Then we're off with flying, and the flying scene is meh. Yeah, again, it's meh. Who cares? And then when we get to Neverland, we get straight into the cannon fight with the pirates, and within like the first 30 minutes, we're already at the Black Castle, or the Black Lagoon, whatever you want to call it. Don't watch it for the mermaids, because the mermaids are barely in it. It's really shocking how little they're in it. They're in one shot, and they look like almost a crossbreed between actual mermaids and like mermaids you'd see in like Avatar. It's like there was like a crossbreed thing going on. It just looks really weird and doesn't sit well with me. And you know, why they just completely forget about these iconic moments and these pivotal parts of the story. Like I said, there's virtually no sexual tension between Peter, Wendy, and Tink. That hurts the movie because there's just, without that, there's nothing else to really go on. They instead tried to reinvent this whole backstory with Peter and Hook being like old friends and Peter apparently left Hook to die or something, or left him to the crocodile, and then yeah, and then like in the end Peter tries to save Hook and tries to apologize for what happened, and they tried to do this fake out thing where they make you think Peter's actually dead when he's not. Again, like pointless changes just for the sake of doing it. You know, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of these remakes thinking they can just change pivotal moments and add random events and random filler just because they think it's reinventing the story. That's not the case, and I don't appreciate that. Christ almighty. I mean, I suppose the visual effects are okay. Like, Tinkerbell's visual effects are fine. The actress playing Tinkerbell kind of gets sidelined as well. Yara Shahidi. Good performance, but again, overshadowed. I'm really sorry to say she's overshadowed. And as for the sword fights, very bland, very boring. I really didn't like the sword fights. They were so basically choreographed. Again, lazy. Lazy with a capital L. Fuck's sake. They can do so much better than this. Like, if you watch the fight scenes in this movie, compare it to the 2003 one, or even the animated one, you'll see a massive difference. The fights in those movies had so much physicality, so much weight, so much tension. You felt the energy, you felt the adrenaline. This, whereas the other films were like, you see what I mean? It's just... Yeah, what can I say? Overall, this is a boring mess of a film. This movie, well, I didn't think it was going to be that good, but it was worse than I predicted. And do not choose this as your definitive version of Peter Pan. By God, please, choose the 2003 one, which is, for me, highly underrated, or the Disney version, because this one is a hot fucking mess, with only minor redeeming qualities. It doesn't compel me to watch the movie again. There's no emotional payoff. There's no character growth. The script is terrible. It is so lazy. It is by the numbers. You do not need to see this film. It is rubbish. It is rubbish, and I will never watch it again. It's not the worst Disney live-action remake. There are worse ones, but it ain't good. So to rate the movie, because I only liked one or two things in it, I can only give it a 2 out of 10.
Elude, alligator, confront the creator. Thine eyes shall see the mystery. Fair winds and...
As for whether it's the worst Peter Pan film, that's up for debate. I didn't like Pan whatsoever, so I'd have to watch Pan again to see which one fares worse, but it's down there for sure. But anyway, that's just my opinion. What did you think of this film? Please comment down below and let me know what you think. Please hit the like and subscribe button for more content. And stay tuned next time when I review The Little Mermaid remake, which is coming out. Oh, fuck me. And then once I've done that, I will be doing a ranking of the live-action remakes from Disney. Well, I do need to review a couple of the others as well, like Pete's Dragon and Cinderella, and I believe that's it. And thank you very much all for watching, and as always, I'm Pajak's Perspective. See ya. Bye for now.